All right, you're talking about the bits where they have the notes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, these are kind of real facts, basically. That some of them I knew, and some of them I'd kind of researched, and I wanted to get to that point where you just had you saw really what they were. You know, I wanted to show that their world was kind of crumbling around them. Basically, it wasn't just them kind of being bad bastards. Basically, you know, the families, the communities were crumbling, the families were crumbling as a result of that, and they were kind of they were in this position whereby they were, you know, they had all these kind of stresses and strains in their lives, and they had all this uncertainty going on in their lives. So I was looking at that kind of that environment as just as a backdrop to what I was kind of writing about.
Back to that, where do you start with that though? So David Peace, for instance, the Yorkshire writer, is quite good at the fiction based on facts.
Yeah, I mean, he's absolutely fantastic. He's one of my favourite writers, and he operates in a very different way. You know, he operates in a very kind of research, kind of journalistic based way, and then seems to weave in the fictionalised storyline. Very fantastic stuff. Very effective way of doing it. I'm the opposite. I just write purely what comes into my head, and you know, and I try and kind of. And it's all nonsense basically, and I think I've got to give this stuff some meaning. I've got to give it some kind of some relevance to real life. So I do the research basically afterwards to try and vindicate it in some way.
You talked about when you were young, you were kind of only interested in school, music, art, bit of writing. You talked about it being a good time for people to write because the technology available. Writing been a little bit homogenised now. What should schools be doing, or what do young people need to do then to do some writing now, or is it not about school? Is it just you can do a bit more writing at home?
I think it's about people getting together and sort of. I think it would be great to get a system, sort of. Kind of young people's writing groups, but outside of school, outside of supervision, and just have that kind of whole peer education thing going on. If people could pass around what they were doing, and it's like, it's very, I think we're taught to be very precious about kind of, about, any kind of art really. This is like, because this is my painting and the teacher will come and have a look at it, or this is my sort of, the little story I've written, the teacher will come and have a look at it. And we're very precious about that kind of whole peer thing, but I think that's the way forward in all education, is peer education. Yeah?
What was your favourite track in Trainspotting soundtrack?
I would probably kind of say Born Slippy, because it's the most kind of anthemic one that gets played a lot, and I still get that kind of sort of little bit of a spine tingle sometimes if I go into a bar and it comes on. I just kind of get taken right back to that sort of.
You can feel the ecky coming up.
Yeah. I can feel myself coming up, and I'm about to like, I'm about to sort of touch you. That's a lovely jumper you've got there, Chris.
So many relationships forged in such a short space of time.
We kind of a lot of us did really. We just all kind of chipped in, saying that that these are our kind of tracks, and obviously ultimately. Danny and the editor did, because you can have great tracks, but they're not going to fit in with the action that you have. So we had to. There's a lot of tracks that were really good that we wanted in, but they just didn't kind of fit in the.
What was the best one that you get in?
Well, probably Bowie's Golden Years was in the was mentioned in the book and all that, but there just wasn't a kind of place for it that would have worked in terms of the film.
Did you meet Dave?
I stood Bowie up twice because I kind of I was supposed to. I was supposed to meet but I would kind of I would have turned into a 13-year-old girl if I met Bowie. I just never I didn't trust myself around him. Like I had the posters on the wall, every album everything that he's ever done and all that, and they had the Trainspotting launch in New York, which Bowie was kind of presenting, and I kind of. I made the excuse that I was playing darts and Leith that night, which I was like, I could have got out of it, but I was playing darts and Leith when the Trainspotting launch in New York was on, and Bowie was presenting it. But later on, when he was on tour, he invited me to to have dinner with them at the Ubiquitous Chip in Glasgow, and I stood him up again because I thought I'm going to make if I sit in the same room as Bowie, I'll just make a complete cunt of myself. Like, you know? So I've kind of become friends with Iggy Pop over the years, and Iggy Pop saying, "Hey, Dave's just a nice guy, Irvine. You're fucking daft. You should have gone and see him. Would have been cool, man." So I kind of regret that now. Like,
what do you think would have happened if you'd have met Dave?
I would have just slavoured and looked into his eyes and all that.
Hey, but you wouldn't have done that though, would you? It'd have been really. It'd have been. Actually, I don't know what it would have been like.
I heard that is it Ali McCloyster's resigned, or he's not resigned, or
but he said on the radio interview, he said no.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just that thing. It's, I mean, it's been beset with so many kind of chancellors have got involved in the club, and I think in general, it's one of these lessons about what happens when a club becomes a kind of seen as a financial centre rather than a football club, and you get all these people involved in it who don't really have the best interests of the club or the supporters at heart. And it's happened to so many clubs. I mean, it's happened to Leeds is actually a real example of so many charlatans have got involved in Leeds. You know,
God,
so
it just goes on and on.
Lose. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, I can't. I mean, obviously, it's like if you support another team in Scotland, you're always glad when one of the bigger clubs fucks up. But I can't really kind of rejoice in it because I think it's just a horrible malaise of the times that we live in. You know.
There's a question over the back over there.
What do you think of condom?
All right, Scorsese's condom.
You've got to tell the story.
Well, I remember I was Martin Scorsese did this film called Condoms, and it was about the Dalai Lama, and I realised that it was that this is not going to be a big multiplex movie. When I got invited to the Museum of Moving Image to the premiere of it, and I went with this big kind of Cockney guy, and this guy, we both got very, very drunk on the free drink there. And it was all these kind of Guardian sort of types. We were kind of all crawling up Scorsese's arse saying, this is a great film and all that. We love Marty, we love this film, darling. It's And my mate kind of sort of really fucking drunk goes up, "Marty, where was the explosions? Where was the car chases? Where was the cock-sucking movie, you motherfucker?" And everybody was like kind of... What I saw a bunch of chinks on rugs and Tibet drinking tea. Where's the fucking movie? And then we go, "My God, this is terrible." So we got slung out of the Museum of Moving Image, unfortunately, So that was the Conundrum experience. But it was I mean, I know everybody in Hollywood's into Buddhism and all that, but I found it very difficult to sit through that movie.
Yeah, I've never seen it. Never fancied
There's
it.
a guy over there that's been...
Yeah.
Have you thought about that culture that you're outside of, like say like in Chicago now, and like thought about writing about say like working class culture in Chicago, like the way David Peace has written about Tokyo or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because I think that that everywhere you live in kind of permeates into you in some way. I mean, I didn't think I would write a book about personal fitness trainers in Miami, but I kind of did. But I think I find it easier to write about Miami than I do Chicago because Chicago's like it's in a lot of ways it's a bit like a British city, like kind of I think Boston and Detroit and New York, there's a lot of writers there that have been there for generations and they know the city really well. It was like when I lived in Dublin, I kind of I really liked the city, but I wasn't massively inspired to write about it because there's so many great Irish writers there, and they do it better. They know the place, but I felt that somewhere like Miami, it's a city of immigrants and migrants. So my kind of take on Miami was as valid as anybody else's who's just kind of got off the plane or the boat. So I kind of I sort of enjoyed writing about Miami. Chicago I would find a bit more difficult, I think now, but I might eventually do it.
Do you believe in the Dixon, like write about what you know? Or?
Yeah, I think you kind of you should write about what you know, but you should be trying to know more all the time. So you should be trying to kind of take an interest in different things that are going on around you in different places that you're involved in, and trying to keep kind of growing and evolving, but so that the basis of what you know becomes more. But you should ultimately, I think, also be trying to write about what you know.
Andy.
Irvine, Mikey Forrester, friend or foe?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had a fiver for every time somebody's come up to me and went, Mikey Forrester, Russian sailors. it's kind of, I wouldn't have to write anything again if I had that. But yeah, I mean, I kind of, I'm still heartbroken and never haven't got the Best Supporting Actor Oscar nomination for Mikey Forrester. I think there's been some kind of bad strings pulled there, like, yeah.
Know what you know now? Would you cast the same people in Trainspotting?
Yeah, I mean, I think the film worked out fantastically. It was great performances, and you never really know. I mean, it's like with casting, you kind of, I couldn't see Bobby Carlyle as Begbie because I thought of Begbie as being bigger and more physically imposing, and not having a dodgy tash, but he was fantastic in it. And when I first met James McAvoy, I couldn't see him as Bruce Robertson because he just looked too young, basically, and too clean cut. And then he was just this fucking Jakey and Filth, like, you know. So great actors always find a way into the role, you know. And I think when you're casting, you just want the best talent as possible, you know. A great actor will become the part, and you know. But it's very difficult when you meet somebody to distinguish between, you know, whether they're just a great actor or just a very good or accomplished actor, you know. And that's the hardest part, I think. 'Cause that's why you kind of have kind of casting agents and all that, and they are worth their weight in gold.
If you could do anything different, go back in time and change anything, would you have done anything different?
Loads and loads, like, you know, but you kind of...
well, go on, we've got another hour, yeah?
I wouldn't have photocopied my gospel 800 times and wasted a lot of money, wasted a lot of time there for a start, but I think that, no, I think you can't really look at life that way, you know. You can't look at life as if you have this kind of DeLorean or hot tub time machine that you can just kind of bounce back into things. I think, you know, you kind of, you just do what you do basically and hope that it kind of comes out okay, you know. There's no kind of, I don't really plan ahead for the future any more than I do, you know, maybe about 6 months or something like that, as much as I can do, you know. So to try and, the idea of trying to sort of kind of retroactively plan backwards is kind of a bit of an anathema to me, really.
Irvine, it's been wonderful, thank you.
It's been fantastic, thank you. Thanks very much.